Good morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here is your detailed weather forecast update for Thursday, the 12th of June 2025. We've got plenty to get through today. Showers, storms, and heavy rainfall is possible, in fact, across parts of New South Wales, and then extending up in towards central and north Queensland in the next 7 days. We're talking about more low-pressure systems of the southwest and the southern regions of Australia, but apart from that, fine and southerly conditions expected across the remainder of Australia. All of the details on the weather outlook, plus more coming up in today's weather forecast. If you are brand new to the channel, please consider subscribe, but let's get stuck straight into things this morning with a brief look down in southeastern Australia before a crack at that rainfall across the northeast New South Wales coastline. So calm conditions across much of southeastern Australia, minus that low pressure system that's just barreled into the southern regions of South Australia, bringing in some much needed rainfall around Ceduna and then into the Eyre Peninsula. Rainfall continuing into the northern regions of the Eyre Peninsula, in fact making it up to Lake Torrens, Roxby Downs and Woomera, so there is some good rainfall moving through those regions right now. Not expecting anything in the way of rainfall around the Adelaide area, unfortunately. This is pretty much exclusive just to the northern reaches of the Eyre Peninsula and the northern reaches of the Spencer Gulf at this point in time. Rainfall expected to ease throughout the course of today and contract to the coastline later on. Apart from that, very cold morning across parts of interior Queensland. Freezing conditions around Mount Isa, Longreach, Roma down to -3 overnight. Freezing conditions just inland from the southeast Queensland's coastline as well. Toowoomba at -1 this morning, and then outside of Brisbane 2 degrees. Very, very cold indeed. And temperatures across interior parts of New South Wales, especially through the mountains, well below freezing through the higher elevations. -7 degrees at Thredbo overnight, -8 at Perisher Valley. Temperatures still dropping there as well. A little bit warmer across interior parts of New South Wales, with a little bit of cloud moving through there. Same story over Victoria. The eastern half very, very cold, but a bit of cloud, saving the western half of Victoria from the absolute worst of the cold conditions. Tasmania also freezing. Leonwee down to -6 overnight, and likely going to be a bit colder as well as the sun begins to rise there. So temperatures very, very low. It has been a freezing cold start, that's for sure. That's kind of the main story this morning. And a couple of patches, a patch or two of heavy rainfall now developing across the New South Wales coastline. This is important. We need to be talking about this. We need to crack into this in great detail right now. So the forecast is suggesting a weak low pressure system to develop later today and into tomorrow morning, offshore from the northeast New South Wales coastline, most likely offshore from Taree. I'm not sure what I just did there, but we are expecting this to bring some heavy showers and heavy periods of rainfall to parts of the northeast New South Wales coastline, or kind of into the mid-north coastline, I should be saying. Beginning tonight, especially into early tomorrow morning as this low pressure system begins to develop. It's not expected to at any point get particularly strong. We're not talking about an east coast low here, but it is going to enhance showers from tonight, especially through tomorrow and into Saturday morning before it finally begins to fall apart, and then through Sunday afternoon, showers easing and contracting further away from the coastline. It will give a little bit of temperature relief, that's for sure. It's been another cold start across the mid-north coast. 8 degrees in Newcastle, 3 degrees outside of Taree, and 3 degrees in Kempsey, so temperatures have been freezing, that's for sure, and I imagine a lot of locations just desperate to see a little bit of relief to these temperatures. However, this will come in the form of some probably not too welcome rainfall across the mid-north coast. The good news is we're not talking about flood impacted areas at a high risk of rainfall at this point in time. I'm speaking strictly coastal rainfall right now, with the heaviest falls expected between Newcastle up to Foster, and again right on the coastline. We're not talking about rainfall penetrating more than about 10 kilometres inland here. So the heaviest falls along the New South Wales coastline around Forster could be up around that 100mm mark. Forecast models have been flip-flopping between about 75 to 150mm of rainfall. A big scope of uncertainty at this point in time, but it really does depend on what showers do materialise. I expect heavy downpours is going to kind of be the main story at this point in time, which is why the rainfall forecast is actually quite aggressive, considering the fact that we don't have an east coast low or a weather system properly developing at any point in time just offshore from the mid-north coast. It's just kind of that hokey-pokey, weak low-pressure system that develops. Showers also expected to extend south of Newcastle. We could be seeing falls between 10 to 25mm through Gosford, right down into the northern suburbs of Sydney, and then falls south of Wollongong expected to pick up once again between 10 to 25mm expected between Wollongong right down towards Mallacoota on the New South Wales-Victoria border, with peak falls up to 50mm outside of Jervis Bay and Ulladulla at this point in time. Again, rainfall accumulations, nothing serious, nothing that's going to cause flooding concerns at this point in time, but it is just worth a mention that we will have some heavy showers moving through. And again, considering how warm those sea temperatures are offshore from the New South Wales mid-north coastline, still pushing 22, 23 degrees in locations, a little bit cooler than what they have been. There's plenty of energy out here for the oceans to really blow up some significant showers and some significant rainfall here, so don't be surprised if the rainfall forecast is more, or ends up being more aggressive and more rainfall comes through than what the forecast models are actually currently suggesting. The convective forecast models, the axis in particular, particular going ham here. You can see right out towards Friday afternoon with the worst of the rainfall coming through Friday evening, falls up to 100 millimetres already, and again those heaviest falls expected north of Gosford, especially between Newcastle right up towards Foster, where falls will then begin to drop off as you get further north through Taree and then out towards Kempsey. And again, we're talking strictly coastal based rainfall at this point in time. Further inland regions such as the Barrington Tops or Gloucester, not expecting anything in the way of significant rainfall out there, maybe a few millimetres here or there, but in terms of significant rainfall, not expecting it to make it very far inland at all. And it is being powered by that low pressure system currently situated deep into the Tasman Sea. In fact, it's pretty much over the top of New Zealand. It's weakened a little bit overnight, pressure of 992 millibars, and it's what we call a multi-vortex low pressure system, which is a big scary word that describes this system here as having multiple other low pressure systems, which it doesn't look like this map here is going to let me show you. But we've got a low pressure system down here, offshore from the Victorian coastline, a couple of other smaller ones through there. Nothing to be concerned about. Again, this is solely a New Zealand impactor. The extent of the impact from this low pressure system is that high pressure ridge that it's drawing down from the south, bringing in those brutally cold temperatures. So yeah, again, very little to be worried about or very little to be concerned about. Again, maybe shore-based activities along the Victorian and the Tasmanian coastlines today facing the Tasman Sea could be advised against, but it really isn't a significant weather event, that's for sure, as significant as it looks out there into the Tasman Sea. Panning out right now, where am I going to go? Well, we're going up in towards central and north Queensland with a little bit of rainfall now on the radar, but plenty more rainfall still on the forecast. This is going to be a bit of a confusing weather event at this point in time. I've got my head scratching at this one, actually. Again, if we're going to get the radar map here to load in, doesn't look like we're going to have it, but there is a little bit of rain now streaming out of the southeast, following the wind direction here into the Whitsundays up through Proserpine and then as far north as Bowen. A few showers now beginning to move through. It's nothing heavy. We're talking about light to moderate rainfall here, but this is what we're going to be seeing for the next couple of days. So we're seeing this big cloud band here now being pushed into the Coral Sea coastline, so into North Queensland's coastline, but south of Cairns through the Cassowary coast and then down especially into the North Queensland coastline, extending as far south as Rockhampton. This cloud band has came in from the Coral Sea, but it's being fueled by moisture streaming in from the northwest. It is quite confusing when the wind observations are suggesting a completely different outlook here, but it's being fueled by moisture coming in off PNG with an active monsoon up there, and that's why we're now starting to see this light to moderate rainfall develop in this region of Queensland. The rainfall is going to pick up through today, especially into tomorrow. We're expecting the rainfall to really begin to pick up. Moderate falls expected through tomorrow morning and into tomorrow afternoon. Rainfall shouldn't be anything too crazy by the looks of things. The forecast models have decided to completely make a mockery of me here and take the rainfall completely off the coastline. So again, when I was researching this video no less than half an hour ago, we had that plenty of rainfall into the North Queensland coastline. The GFS model still has it to some degree. We're expecting moderate rainfall to continue through Thursday night, so tonight into early tomorrow morning. It looks like the forecast modelling though, and this is a bit embarrassing to say, I can feel myself going red right now, have taken that rainfall completely off the forecast for tomorrow afternoon and into Saturday. I had that hunch that they were going to do that yesterday, but they didn't do it this morning, so I thought that that'd be completely fine. It doesn't look like that's the case now, so again, bear with me. The new forecast for central Queensland is this moderate rainfall patches to continue through here and there, especially through the Whitsundays and into the southern parts of far north Queensland throughout the remainder of today and into early tomorrow morning before this rainfall slowly pulls away from the coastline. Showers beginning to get lighter and lighter through early tomorrow morning and then pretty much clearing as we get out to about lunchtime tomorrow by the looks of things. Again, rainfall accumulations aren't expected to be anything serious. They will top out at about 20 millimetres at the worst case scenario along the Whitsundays. Rainfall then returning into early next week, which is the rainfall we've been talking about for the last couple of days. You can see through Monday and into Tuesday a little bit more light, moderate rainfall expected to be fueled with moisture coming out of the southeast. That will most likely be a far north Queensland impactor, with the Cassowary coast expecting 100 to 150 millimetres of rainfall. Pretty much everywhere else we'll be looking at a couple of days of some drizzly stuff moving through. So Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday will probably be a little bit soggy here and there across North Queensland, with a couple of millimetres of drizzle moving through here and there. But again, nothing in the way of significant rainfall now on the forecast for this region of Queensland in terms of heavy rainfall at this point in time. A few showers actually lingering a long way out into the future on the forecast modelling. You can see whilst we're mainly talking about between the 16th or the 17th out to about the 19th or the 20th in terms of the chance of that moderate rainfall that's going to come through and deliver maybe 25 millimetres in 4 or 5 days, there's still showers on the forecast well beyond that right out to the 26th of June. So we're in a bit of an active period now up in far north Queensland where the rainfall is going to be a little bit more widespread from about now over the next 14 days, and that's going to really add up for far north Queensland, which are right in the path of this southeasterly flow bringing the showers. And we're now looking at falls up to 250 millimetres through the Cassowary Coast over the next 14 days. Now, that is significant rainfall. It's not enough to cause flooding up there. It's not enough to cause problems in terms of rainfall, but it's significant enough as to where we're going to be seeing maybe a month and a half's worth of rainfall for this time of the year up in far north Queensland, occurring in just 2 weeks. So for those of you around the Cassowary Coast, especially south of Cairns through Gordonvale and then around Fishery Falls, Belinda Kerr, that sort of area, it's a very niche kind of pocket of the Cassowary Coast. We're not talking about the entirety of the Cassowary Coast and the bigger population centres such as Cardwell and Ingham, and not even Innisfail and Tully by extension. They're only expecting a couple of drops of rainfall out there. But into the mountainous regions, expect some isolated to widespread heavy rainfall here and there through the middle parts of next week, next weekend, and then into the early parts of next fortnight. Kind of between the 16th out to the 23rd of June is when the rainfall is expected to be at its heaviest across far north Queensland. Again, I apologise if this forecast has been confusing. We're not expecting rainfall beyond tomorrow. A couple of days of dry weather expected from about lunchtime tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, and then rainfall returning Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in a pretty light, moderate fashion. Then beyond that, on and off showers coming out of the southeast, the majority of them coming up in towards the Cassowary Coast. That's kind of the gist of the forecast at this point in time. In terms of rainfall accumulations, pretty much everywhere along the coastline or within about 150 kilometres of the coastline north of Rockhampton is expecting between about 5 to 15 millimetres at a rough guess, with rainfall getting progressively heavier. The chances of more than 25 millimetres increasing as you get up to the Cape York Peninsula, where falls could be as high as 150 millimetres through parts of the Cape York Peninsula. It's all driven by that active monsoon, and again, this will be kind of a bit of a rainfall event that we take day by day because it is such a wide scope of impact at this point in time. I'll get back to this in a future update. Let's just touch on the southwestern corner of Australia briefly. We do have a little bit of rainfall coming through in the next 14 days as well. In fact, some great falls expected along the south coastal regions, with falls up to 200 millimetres expected there. You'd think that that'd be the runaway wettest place, especially for this time of the year around Australia, but no, still far north Queensland eclipsing the southwest of WA with rainfall accumulations on the forecast in the next 14 days. And we've got a couple of days of dry weather expected, or just a couple of hours of dry weather expected, to be honest. There are a few showers moving around the lower west coastline, but again, they're not expected to be problems across the southwest. Another cold start into the wheatbelt regions out towards Cunderdin, 2 degrees this morning. I'm not sure if we've had locations dropping below zero today. It doesn't look like it. Yesterday was colder than today, but still cool temperatures expected across much of the wheatbelt to continue for the foreseeable future. Rainfall is expected to continue or begin, I should probably say, from about tomorrow mid-morning into tomorrow afternoon for the Perth metro area. A weak cold front coming through in tomorrow afternoon, but before being cleared off very quickly by a high pressure system that's going to return with the cold weather, to be honest. And then through Sunday morning, a few more showers continuing around the Perth metro area, clearing for Sunday night into Monday, and then another strong cold front building through Tuesday, impacting the southwest and the lower west regions through Tuesday morning into Tuesday afternoon. This frontal system looks like it could pack a punch in between Tuesday and Wednesday. Not only is there a chance of some severe weather in terms of the form of damaging winds at this point in time, strong wind gusts can be expected as this front crosses the coastline, but we'll also be talking about some heavy rainfall across much of the southwest. We could be talking about falls between 25 to 50 millimetres along the coastline and 10 to 25 millimetres across the western half of the wheatbelt. So very good falls also expected from that system as well. Rainfall returning on the 19th and 20th of June. Again, plenty more rainfall still to talk about there towards the 21st and the 22nd of June. As you've been watching over the last couple of days in these forecast updates, a series of cold fronts is expected in the next 10 days before that southern annular mode turns around again, and we got a couple of weeks of dry weather across southern Australia. In terms of the weather events, they will then head over into South Australia, Victoria and into Tasmania, and we'll see rainfall develop over there. The rainfall that we've seen right now into the Eyre Peninsula of South Australia has been very welcome, that's for sure. Rainfall also expected to continue over the next 14 days, not in a significant fashion, but we're expecting falls between 10 to 50 millimetres along much of the South Australian coastline between Ceduna right down to Mount Gambier. Falls along the Victorian side of things as well, looking pretty good. Much of the agricultural regions expecting about 25 to 30 millimetres in the next 14 days, and then the falls looking quite healthy across the west coast of Tasmania, as you would expect for this time of the year. Falls anywhere between that 10 to 25 millimetres into the east coast of Tasmania, and then paling in comparison to the 100 to 250 millimetres of the west coast of Tasmania. That is pretty stock standard stuff for this time of the year. It also looks like with the strength of these low pressure systems, we'll be talking about some more snow before long into the high peaks of New South Wales and Victoria, and also parts of Tasmania as well. Snowfalls have been great so far this start of the ski season. We're not expecting snowfall to return for the next couple of days, but then into next week, we look like we might have a bit of a snowfall event beginning to unfold with more low pressure systems coming through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we could be talking about a further 50 centimetres onto the highest peaks through New South Wales and into southeast of the southeast or the eastern half of Victoria. I think I got my geography completely mixed up there. Snowfall will be exclusive to the Snowy Mountains. We're not expecting anything extending north into the Blue Mountains. Maybe a couple of flurries here and there above 13 or 1400 metres, but again, nothing serious, that's for sure. Plenty more snowfall still to come, and the ski resorts will be rubbing their hands at that. It has been a great start to ski season 2025, and we expect that that is going to continue, especially with the water now being in Lake Eyre. That generally coincides with ski seasons and snowfall seasons being much better than what they normally are in a non-flood year for Lake Eyre. I'm not sure if that's a coincidence or if that's got something serious at play there. Lake Eyre generally isn't big enough, surprisingly, to have a dramatic impact on the climate. Anyways, on that note, I'm going to leave this forecast update here. I do hope you've enjoyed it or found it informative. And if you have, then please consider leaving a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. More forecast updates coming tomorrow. There's an important announcement in the pinned comment, so make sure you go and check it out as well. And whilst you're at it, leave a comment detailing a weather report for your location as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. That is all for me today. A special shout out to the channel sponsors. The names are on screen right now, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.